Right, so I wanted to go over some ecological theories, and it's basically the environment around us impacting us ideas here. Um, so ecological models are person in environment, right? So there's a lot of variables that could be impacting our career decisions. It could be impacting our life satisfaction variables. So there's lots of internal things inside of us as a person, intrapersonal sort of issues and things, emotions, thoughts, feelings, right? That are all part of who we are internally. And then there's also all these external variables that are interacting with us and we're interacting with them. So there's this push and pull between all of these. So here's an example of one that's talking about different things within a student's life, right? The students at the center, and then you have all of the kind of biological factors that make up a student, make up who you are. Then you have these personal characteristics, individual factors. So again, it's all of those, right? So this is just an idea, an example of that. Then your microsystem is starting to be those interpersonal pieces where you're interacting with another person, family members, those close people, peers, friends, right? So this is an ecological model. The idea that we are impacted by these external variables is the huge emphasis with ecological models. So one that I tend to do with clients, this is an intervention that I use. It's very informal. I draw a picture, I put the client's name in the middle, and then I start to have them identify the things that are impacting them. So I often talk about like the pressures in and the pressures out, like who helps you, what sort of pressures are weighing on you. And then I will have them either add additional arrows to emphasize how much stress they're getting from that particular area or that particular person. So this could be, for example, a teenager, and this is mom. Mom is very stressful. She's always on my case, blah, 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 right? So you can put a number there. Sometimes I put like a scale of 1 to 10. How much pressure are you feeling from mom? How much pressure are you feeling from school? Right, the different areas where they're having relationships outside variables and factors. So I have them either put a number here to rate it, or have them draw extra arrows. And then I also indicate that there may be something that is relieving stress for them and that is taking the pressure off of them. So we talked about that. What is a supportive arrow? So that takes things away from them, that gives them support. So who's supporting them? So this could be a friend that, you know, maybe is pressure sometimes, like they're kind of drama sometimes, but sometimes they help, right? So I have them kind of do this in a more informal setting and like we draw it out. So I really like visuals of what sort of things are influencing their choices, they're influencing their stress levels, influencing those sorts of things in their life. So that's one way to kind of conceptualize this for a client. That's really informal and very simple for them to see, you know, what is impacting me. So Braun from Brunner's ecological model is the one that most commonly people will discuss and use within career counseling, within mental health counseling as well. This is not just a career counseling model. It's oftentimes used in social work as well. So the idea here is the microsystem is the person. That's the factors that make up you as a person, biological and inherited. It could be, you know, your experiences, all those things that make you a unique individual. The mesosystem, there is your family, your peer group, school, work. Those are the next people outside of that circle, right? The closest people that you interact on a day-to-day basis, or you feel like are your emotional support, your emotional resources, your not just emotional resources, but physical resources as well could be in that section, right? Then your exosystem could be friends of family or extended family members. So they may be a couple steps away from you, right? Your neighbors, your workplace could be a part of this. Media, social media becomes a role there. Technology becomes a role in the exosystem. Macro system is much larger, kind of a larger system that plays a role too. So your social group, your country, right? Your government organizations, local, federal, right? Policies, law enforcement, agencies, the judicial system is a piece of here that you'll run into pressuring clients, right? Economic systems is also here, like how the economy is doing. It also is a factor that we're going to consider in career counseling. So it's all looking at all these pieces that are playing a role in individuals' lives. And that's very important in kind of this consideration in the models that we're using with this. It's a way to conceptualize clients that take in a lot of factors in their environment. So this is what Bronfman Burner's model somewhat looks like, a very basic drawing of it anyways. So again, at the center is what makes you an individual, unique self, and then the microsystem is the next out, mesosystem. Again, these are all interacting with each other. So the arrow is going in and out. It's all these interactions process within these. The macrosystem, again, is that overall ideologies, the idea of the dominant cultural narrative or the dominant culture influences on our mindset, on our values, right? That is all part of that macro system way on the outside. So this is a way to kind of conceptualize clients and help them conceptualize and look at all the factors that are playing a role in their decisions and in their mental health and their life satisfaction and all those things, right? And there's only so much control we have over all those pieces. Right? The closer we are here, the more impact, more control we have over that, the more we're going to be able to influence things. As you get further away, it becomes a little bit trickier to change those things for people. So Bronfman-Burner's ecological model is basically, it has a developmental aspect as well, which is not demonstrated in that simple drawing of it, but it talks about how people develop over time within systems. So systems are changing and then people are changing within the systems over time. So that's really important, that change is possible and it accounts for change within that. Many presenting problems are not within the client are not yet in person environment experience. So they don't yet exist. So it may be we're stuck in the future or stuck in the past, right? We're not in the current environment that we're in. Social class and poverty. So I just kind of wanted to push some ideas to like consider. I'm not going to talk about them a whole lot, but just some thoughts. So how does social class and poverty, this overall macro system of our economy, impact people? Using an ecological model, how does being a client that has low SES, low socioeconomic status, low resources as far as financial, how does that impact somebody internally? What might be their internal thoughts and feelings? What might be their internal mindset and schemas? And then what are those external factors that are playing a role on that client from the outside systems? How do family members, teachers, co-workers, how does that maybe look different for somebody in a poverty, under the poverty line status? How does those macro system pieces, government agencies, the judicial system, education systems, law enforcement, how does that impact somebody in this? So it's looking at all these pieces. If you put that client within those realms, asking about all of those, race and ethnicity is another thing to consider. So if that's something that makes you a unique person, it definitely has internal aspects. So what's the interpersonal connection, mind, body, mind schemas, cognitive processes with that? How does that all play a role? And then what does the external factors look like? How might the government agencies, how might judicial systems all be impacted by a client's race? How might them be impacted, the race be treated differently within those systems? A million different ways to kind of process this within each of those circles as you're looking at your clients. How does it all impact? So I just want you to kind of think about that. I'm going to throw out another one that can be particularly challenging in career counseling, sexual orientation and gender. So putting that in that interpersonal, how does that affect people internally? You know, what feelings, thoughts do they have about those things? And then how does that external piece interplay with that? Like sometimes I think, you know, that there's a lot of anxiety because the dominant narrative is discriminatory towards certain people, that whether that's race, ethnicity, poverty, like, right? So that anxiety piece, how is that impacted by the dominant culture? How is that impacted by the systems they may interact with? And how does that influence them in making career decisions? How does it influence them in being satisfied with the career decisions that they have, or the options that they have, or where they are in a work environment? So there's a lot of factors here that really play a role in kind of helping clients tease those out are kind of difficult at times. So that's why I try to use the visual maps. What's adding pressure? What is adding stress? What is adding sadness, right? What is adding those negative influences? What is positive? And kind of helping them see those pieces. That is kind of the ecological model. Again, it's a lot of just kind of questioning and looking at all the variables that could be playing a role in the decisions that clients are making and in their overall satisfaction, and kind of teasing out where they can have influence and where they can make decisions, and where maybe those decisions, maybe change will happen slowly, maybe they don't have control over that piece, right? So that's important factors in using this model in particular in mental health counseling or career counseling. I think it can be used in both places very well.